So, today I want to talk about something that I actually had a couple people on my Twitter tell me they would like to hear and they would like me to talk about, which is my experience with loving an addict. In my case, it was a drug addict, but I mean, these really can be for any type of addict, even an alcoholic. Um, First, I'm going to talk about 8 things to remember when you love an addict, and then I'm going to talk about my experience. So, number 8, loving an addict is not easy. It's not something we choose to do. It's something we're pretty much forced to do because someone we love became an addict. And no, they did not choose to become an addict. Yes, they chose to have that first drink or use that drug for the first time. But a lot of people don't go into using a drug and think, oh, I want to be addicted, or take that drink thinking, yeah, I want to be addicted. So, loving one is not easy because sometimes it's not really your choice, especially if it is someone in your family, even if it is your boyfriend or girlfriend or your husband or wife. It's never easy, and a lot of people don't understand that, especially if they've never experienced it. I have some friends of my own that have never experienced it. They've never loved someone who is an addict. So they really don't understand and they really don't get it. Okay, number 7. An addiction is not an option, it is a sickness. Um, I do believe this. I have done research on it. There is a gene you can have that actually makes you more susceptible to being addicted to something. And typically, you can tell by your family. If you have family, a lot of family that's been addicted to anything, more than likely you are more you are more liable to be addicted. Now, this is not for everyone. Some people can try anything they want once and then never even think about it again, or they can do it as they please and never get addicted. And I don't know if I'd call that lucky because I don't agree with doing drugs. I don't think you should do drugs, but at least they're not addicted and they're not going through what some people have to go through. But I do feel very strongly about that. I have had very heated debates about that with people because some people do not see it that way, and that is perfectly fine. Everyone has their opinions. No opinion is wrong. But in my opinion, it is not an option. Okay, number 6. Giving up on them is okay sometimes. Sometimes that's exactly what you have to do to try to pull them back in. It's a really hard thing to do, to cut someone off, especially someone you really love, especially a family member. It is hard to cut those cords and tell them, you know what, if you're going to use that, you can't be in my house. You can't borrow cash from me. You can't use my car. But sometimes it is just something you have to do in order to get them to see how bad they've gotten, and in order for your sanity sometimes. Number 5. Do not shame them. Do not judge them, shame them, any of that, because if the addiction is so bad that just it's not something you should do. Shaming them is just going to make them think, screw it, I'll just continue to do it. If you're going to talk to them, you should support them and be there for them, but not feed into the addiction. Don't give them that $30, $40 whenever you know what they're going to use it on. If they say they're hungry and ask for money, tell them you'll buy them food. If they say they need somewhere to sleep for the night, give them that night and be there for them, but tell them they can't bring anything into your house that you're not okay with. But don't shame them. Number 4. They are a different person when they are on whatever they use. They are not themselves. The drug, the alcohol, whatever, it does take over who they are and it does change them completely. Completely. Like, if you've never been around someone who's on drugs and been around them before they did the drugs when they were sober, then it's very hard to understand this, but they are not their normal self whenever they are using. Number 3, don't lose yourself trying to help them find themselves. Don't give up your life. Don't give up your friends. Don't give up anything to try to help them find who they are. If they want you to stop your entire life to help them, then you're kind of at the point of no return where you probably can't help them much and they just need to help themselves at that point. I'm not saying you should give up on them, but you shouldn't give up on yourself either. Number 2, they will replace their addiction with another one, good or bad. A drug user might stop using drugs and start drinking more alcohol than they normally would, or start gambling more than they normally would. Start even sleeping around more than they normally would. That's really with any addiction. A smoker that smokes cigarettes would bite their nails, or I know a lot of people who stop smoking cigarettes start to chew the sunflower seeds or whatever those little seeds are that people chew and spit out, and I don't even understand why they like them. But the addiction will be replaced with another one. You just gotta hope it's a good one and try to find a healthy addiction for them. Working out, for example, that's a healthy addiction they can put all of their cravings into. Eating healthy, just stuff like that. Okay, number 1, and in my opinion, the most important one. Do not blame yourself. No matter what anyone says, no matter what they say, it is not your fault by any means, and it never will be. A lot of people blame themselves. I have never really been in that position where I blamed myself, but I was almost in that position just because I was being told it was my fault. And it's never your fault. If they stopped using and then started using again, that is completely on them. There's nothing you could have done, especially if you were there to support them. Okay, so this is not one of my points, but I also wanted to talk about this before I move on to my experience. If you have never gone through loving an addict and you have never had a loved one turn to drugs and get addicted, do not blame people around you who are going through it because they refuse to give up on their loved one. Don't shame them or judge them or be rude to them because they're writing letters or answer a phone call here or there or visit every now and again. And if they need your support, give it to them. Don't judge them. Don't talk bad about their loved one. None of that is necessary. It's not going to do anything except for harm your friendship and possibly end it depending on who the loved one is. It's really not your place to tell them they should give up on someone they love because that person made a mistake and because that person went back to the drug or started using the drug again or started drinking the alcohol again. You have no idea what they're going through, and for all you know, they could be hurting way deeper than you even realize. It is not your place to judge them, to shame them, especially because you have no idea what's going on and you have not been in the position they're in. Okay, now on to my personal experience. I have had lots of experience with drug addicts. I have never had an experience with an alcoholic. I have had many people I love turn to drugs and get addicted, and I mean really addicted badly. The one I'll be talking about today is one that impacted my life the most out of anyone. He was my best friend and ended up being my boyfriend. I met him in 2012, and we clicked, and almost immediately we started dating. We fell in love and we dated for about 2.5 years. Well, when we broke up, he just went down a very bad path and started hanging out with the wrong people. I moved on and I knew what he was doing and it hurt, but because I moved on, I did fall in love with someone else. I did start dating someone else. And although I never stopped loving him, it wasn't as hard as it could have been because I did have someone there for me who I wouldn't say they understood, but they didn't stop me from writing letters whenever I could. I was very upset with him. I was very mad with him, and I did not talk to him for a very long time. He did get caught and he did go to prison. He got 5 years and 2 felonies. He was in prison for almost 2 years. He was in prison for about a year and a half, 18 months. He did make parole for the rest of his prison. While he was in prison, we did reconnect. We did start dating again. He was there for me when no one else was, and he wasn't even there physically. He was there through letters and phone calls and 2 or 3 contact visits where we were being watched like hawks. He did help me with my child, and he was there for me every step of the way. He did a lot for me that a lot of dads, a lot of boyfriends won't do for their significant other. And I did appreciate him a lot. But somewhere down the road, something went wrong. I think it was just that he felt too pressured, and he's not a big talker, so he didn't know how to talk to me. He didn't know what to say or what to do. And he felt like he couldn't provide for me and my kid. And it just really put him in a bad spot mentally. And on top of that, he had his mom whispering in his ear that he should break up with me simply because she doesn't like me. She's also a drug user and she wanted him to be on her side and not on my side. And so, because of that, we did break up. After about 4 months, he did start acting kind of sketchy and lying to me again. It turns out he did use once while we were together. And soon after that was when we broke up. He only used once while we were together, but I think that one time was enough for him to want to go back. He's an addict. It was a lot, and I didn't even know that at the time. I actually just recently found this out. I thought that he'd started after we broke up, but we did break up. We still acted like we dated. We were still pretty much dating without the label, and it was really hard on me because I didn't understand why he didn't want to date me. Like, he didn't want to have the label, but he did want to come spend the night at my house and call me babe, and he was literally my boyfriend without being my boyfriend. And he was so good to me after we broke up. And then again, he started lying again and acting sketchy again. And so I cut him off for about a week. I stopped talking to him. And that is when he ultimately started using again. It was not easy. When I found out, I was heartbroken. I had my suspicions, but when I found out 100%, I was broken. That was my best friend. Everything aside, he is my best friend, my absolute best friend. And I never wanted this for him, so it was already hard to begin with. But that confirmation was almost just too much to handle in the moment. I felt like I had no friends and no one to turn to. Well, about 2 weeks after that, he got arrested and he got 2 more felonies. He's been in jail since, and it's been almost a month. I do write him, and it's been really hard on me. He has apologized over and over and over, and he's shown me that he does still care about me. But at the same time, I'm very torn on what I should do and how I should feel. Right now, all I want to do is support him as his best friend and be there for him as his best friend. And it just breaks my heart because here we are. He was out and he was doing so good, and I had such hope for him and faith for him. And now we're back to letters and talking for 10 to 15 minutes, depending on if I have the money, how much money I have, and, visits through glass. And it's not fun. Seeing someone you love like that, it's not fun. And knowing there's nothing you can do about it, and knowing if you would have been there for them, maybe a little more, it wouldn't have happened. I don't blame myself, but I also am very heartbroken a lot of the time when I think about it. He is obviously clean right now because he is in jail, but I'm very scared, and I'm not that optimistic that he'll stay clean once he's out. All I can do at this point for him is be his friend and pray for him. And I do. I pray a lot. And I honestly am very scared because I want the best for him. I want the best life for him. I want him to get out and stay clean. And I know that's going to be hard for him because all of his friends do drugs. Friends. And I mean, his mom does drugs. And I mean, how do you cut someone like your mom out of your life? You can't. But at the same time, to stay clean, you can't talk to people that do drugs, and you can't live with people that do drugs. And my best advice, if you're going through this, is to stay strong, especially if you have a kid. Stay strong for your kid. Stay optimistic. Don't lose faith. I lost faith for a while. And when I lost faith, I mean, it's the worst feeling in the world. Like I said, all you can really do is pray. I was lied to, and I was hurt. And some of the stuff he said to me while he was using was some of the worst stuff that's ever been said to me in my life. Some of the threats he made to me, they're unbelievable. And I'm supposed to be the one person in this world he loved the most. And he still tells me to this day that he does love me, and he did love me. And I mean, he tells me he can't believe some of the stuff he said to me and the way he treated me. But at the same time, how do you believe someone who tells you that, but who says the stuff they said to you? If you're watching this and you watched it to the end, if you have any questions, you can tweet me, you can message me on Instagram, you can text me if you are one of my friends and you have my number. There are many ways to get a hold of me. You can comment on this video if you have an account. But I hope you liked the video. I hope that it was helpful. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. And don't forget to comment. Comment and tell me what you'd like me to talk about or what you'd like to see. I will probably be uploading a picture of my kid very soon and just, playtime or feeding time or whatever y'all want to see. But this was my most requested. My next video will probably be another requested video. I've had another, some other requests from Twitter. So, like, subscribe, and thumbs up on this video. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching.